So we understood the basic Buddhist philosophy, and we also understood the soul concept as a God concept in Buddhism. So right now we'll come to another theme that is being repeated so many times in UPSC Prelims PYQ'S, that is the Bodhisattva concept. That is, one question was about the entire understanding about the Buddhism, about the teachings, that is the extension of the flame of the desire. And now one concept is about paramitas, that is the perfection beings which led to bodhisattvas. And again, bodhisattva concept repeated so many times, 2016, 19, 20, okay, many times. So we will look at that particular, we will solve these questions and then we will move forward understanding the concept itself only. Okay? Now the concept of bodhisattva is central to Hinayana sect of Buddhism, they say. Okay, but any people who have been learning history for a while, especially for UPSC, they know that bodhisattva is a concept that is related to Mahayana Buddhism that can be eliminated. Bodhisattva is a compassionate one on his way to enlightenment. That is, those are bodhisattvas who are compassionate beings that they can achieve enlightenment, but they delay it to help others to achieve enlightenment. Okay, so that is, they delay it so that others can achieve the enlightenment, and they want to make sure that all human beings are, we can say, that it can achieve enlightenment. At the same time, all sentient beings also, not just human beings, not just individual beings like in Hinayana, but all beings, not just humans itself, all beings can achieve salvation. That is one thing. Okay, so that is compassionate one on his way to achieve enlightenment, so it delays it. Bodhisattva delays achieving his own salvation to help all sentient beings in their path to it. Okay, so that is the first statement is wrong. That is asked in 2016. Okay, so which of the following statements are correct? 1 only, 2 and 3, 2 only, and 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is answer should be, that we know, answer is B, that is 2 and 3. Okay, answer is 2 and 3, and that is, this statement is correct. This statement. Again, when you look at other questions also, that is, this Bodhisattva concept is so many times repeated, the perfection concept, the paramitas concept. That is, it means the religious theme of AVC you have to know comprehensively. Religious theme of Rigvedic Aryans you know comprehensively. We talked about later Vedic religious life also. Now in the same way, when we talk about the extension of flame of desire concept, that is the entire understanding of the Buddha's philosophy and Buddha's teachings. And if without having that entire understanding, you cannot answer that question. In the same way, here too, the Bodhisattva's concept, you have to understand, we have to understand how it evolved through councils, what are the differences, okay, different Bodhisattva's concept, and also how the questions are evolving, because the same kind of questions cannot be repeated over a period of time. The interrelated concept of that theme can get repeated. That is also possible. Okay, so now coming into that one, the Buddhist council, to understand Bodhisattva, how it evolved, we have to understand how it where it evolved, when it evolved. So first we have to talk about Buddhist council. The 4 Buddhist councils, you know, there is the first council, all these are factuals, you people know very well. The 486 to 483 BC, this happened in, okay, in Rajagriha in Bihar, and which was presided by Mahakashyapa, and the king was Ajatashatru, belonged to Aryanka dynasty. And what is the outcome of this particular council is that one, you people already know, the Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka was collected. There is 3 Pitakas are there, Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka and Abhidhamma Pitaka. The first 2 Pitakas, there is Sutta Pitaka and Vinaya Pitaka, they were collected under the leadership of Upali, that is Vinaya Pitaka, under the leadership of Ananda, that is Sutta Pitaka. And Sutta Pitaka, like I already mentioned, it talks about the major Buddhist teachings, the 4 Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. And Vinaya Pitaka, it talks about what? It talks about the rules and regulation of the Sangha. Okay, that is one thing. Now we'll come to second Buddhist council, and the second Buddhist council happened in Vaishali in around 383 BC, that is in Bihar. And during this point of time, it was presided by Sabakami, and the king was Kakavarna, also called as Kalashoka, who belonged to the Shishanaga dynasty we can talk about. Okay, that is, the first split in Buddhism happened. Okay, first split in Buddhism happened due to differences in interpretation of Buddha's teaching. We talked about Buddha's teachings, that is the 4 Noble Truths and Eightfold Path, but now the interpretation problems happened among the Buddhist followers, particularly the Sangha. We talked about the common Upasampada concept, Upasika concept, Upasaka concept. Okay, within this Sangha, there is some kind of problems happened about the interpretation of the teaching. Okay, so what Buddha said. So that led to first split, that is called as Thaviravadins and Mahasangika. This question is also repeated. Okay, Bodhisattva, look at that one. To understand Bodhisattva and certain different sects of Buddhism, these 2 words have been repeated in UPSC question papers. We'll come to this one. We will answer those also. That is, what is Thaviravadins, what is Mahasangikas? We'll come to that one, because we are talking about Buddhist councils. We don't want to disturb that flow. And a Buddhist council, third Buddhist council, very famous council around 250 BC during the time of Ashoka. Okay, in Pataliputra, Patna, and they presided by Moggalliputta Tissa. King was Ashoka. And now what happened here is that when the third Pitaka, the Abhidhamma Pitaka, was collected. The first 2 Pitakas, first council, split in the second council, or a difference in the second council, third council, Abhidhamma Pitaka. And what Abhidhamma Pitaka deals with? It deals with the philosophical teachings of Buddha. It is in a questions and answers format. Okay, and their decision was taken to send missionaries across the world to spread the Buddhist Dhamma, to teachings of Buddha to be spread across the countries. And even we know that Ashoka sent his children to Sri Lanka to spread the Buddhist ideals. And also there was, because there's a lot of problems were happening within the Buddhist Sangha, and some of the elders, we can say, and they took the decision to expel some of the Buddhist monks out of the Buddhist Sangha. Okay, because they thought like they were heretical. So some people believed that there are certain people, okay, who were going away from the Buddhist teachings, okay, and they were called as heretical monks, and they were expelled out of Buddhism too. Okay, so this has happened in third council. And also Theravada order that we talked about, Theravada order, because 4 stages of awakening, that is Sotapanna, Shakadagami, Anagami. Okay, so those things, kind of things evolved, and sent them that school, that is Hinayana school, which is also called as Theravada, and that started to emerge at third Buddhist council. And now when it comes to the fourth Buddhist council, one of the important councils again, and it happened during the CE time period, that is the Common Era time period, in the 1st century AD, that is around 70 to AD, because all the 3 councils happened in BCE time period. It happened in Kashmir, and it was presided by Vasumitra, and at the same time the king was Kanishka. And here what happened? The rise of Hinayana and Mahayana, that is Theravada, and the same school came to be called as Hinayana, and later one more school emerged, that is Mahayana. The split, the actual split in Buddhism happened at 4th council, and the commentaries on the 3 Pitakas, which are 3 Pitakas, Sutta Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, Bhidava Pitaka, and those commentaries are called as Vibhasha Shastra and Bhashya Shastra, Vibhasha Shastra and Upadesh Shastra, and they were compiled. And which council? It's in the 4th Buddhist council. Okay, now because we are talking about the Bodhisattva concept, to understand about how this evolved. The Bodhisattva concept evolved. First, we need to understand the councils. That is where split happened. In this split, 2 schools emerged, Hinayana and Mahayana. Many schools later emerged. And out of this, one school started believing in the concept of Bodhisattva, and that is Mahayana schools. And that is what we are coming into. Schools of Buddhism, that is Sthaviravadins, first we will understand. In the second council that happened. That is, they followed the original teachings of Buddha. That's the 4 Noble Truths and 8-fold Path. That's what they believed in. And they believed in Pali language. Jainism known for Ardha Magadhi and Prakrit language, and Buddhism known for Pali language. Okay, so most of their literature are in Pali language. So Sthaviravadins believed in Pali language and a strict monastic life, as rules and regulations prescribed by Buddha. They followed that one. And then again there was Mahasangika. Mahasangika, they took the liberty of changing the teachings of Buddha. The reinterpretation of Buddha's teachings happened, and that is where the problems happen. We'll come to that one. One more time we'll discuss Mahasangika, because there is a question also asked. I will come there. And they modified the original teachings a little bit. And now this Sthaviravadins led to the emergence of Hinayana, and this Mahasangika led to the emergence of Mahayana. And most of the Buddhist sects like Lokottaravadin, okay, and then again many other Buddhist sects, they started emerging out of the Mahasangika sect itself only. Okay, so that's what led to the emergence of many future Buddhist sects. Okay, that is Sthaviravadins, Mahasangikas, that is changed a little bit interpretation. They started believing in the concept of Bodhisattva, and they started believing in Sanskrit language. Okay, they started consuming the food that is banned by the Sangha. Okay, that is how the liberal interpretation started to happen during this point of time. That is during this AD time period. Now we will understand what Hinayana is about. That is Sthaviravadins led to emergence of Theravada, and again Hinayana. All these are interconnected. But the actual name right now, that is which is presently that is Hinayana. It's also called as Theravada, like I already mentioned, and it's also called as a lesser path, a doctrine of elders. That's Hinayanis, Theravadis call themselves as doctrine of elders, and Hinayana is actually derogatory term. Okay, that is inferior term given to them by Mahayanis. Mahayanis, they feel that they are greater path. They are following the greater path as prescribed by Buddha. But Mahayanis criticize Hinayanis because you are following the lesser path. Okay, and that is the reason, that is how the term came. But actual term, we can say that is Theravada is far more applicable. So Hinayana is used in the context of humiliating these followers of the Buddha's original teachings by the Mahayanis. Okay, the doctrine of the elder. They believe that one, we are elders, we are following the original teaching. It is the Orthodox school. It means Orthodox Buddhist teaching they followed. The original teaching, that is the 4 truths as well as the 8-fold path, they followed that one in Pali language, same as Sthaviravadins. Exactly. Today it is very famous in Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Thailand and Cambodia and Laos, particularly in Southeast Asia. And Ashoka gave patronism to this particular school, because Mahayana got patronized from Harshavardhana and Kanishka, but Hinayana got patronized from Ashoka. Okay, so all these are very simple things you people know. Then Mahayana, that is greater path, they call themselves greater path. and they called Hinayanis as lesser path. Okay, that is the Hinayana itself, it's only. And they modified the teachings of Buddha. And how they modified the teachings of Buddha is that one, they started believing in Sanskrit language, because the Buddhism, they believed in vernacular languages, the local languages. The reason why Buddhism and Jainism spread is because of vernacular languages. And Sanskrit was the language of Orthodox section. But right now, they started adopting the Orthodox ideologies, and they made Buddha as the god. Okay, treating Buddha as the god. That is divinity of Buddha. When you make Buddha as the god, obviously his idol worship starts. His idol worship starts. And when you start worshipping idols, some rituals also start. And idol worship of Buddha and Bodhisattvas. Like I told you, what is Bodhisattvas? Can attain nirvana, but delay it to help others. Same wordings was there. We talked about the same wordings was there during that particular question. So to understand Bodhisattva in 360-degree angle, we have to understand the council. The council led to splits. The split led to evolution of a new concept. That new concept is Bodhisattva concept. It also called as Buddha to be. It means they can become Buddhas. They can achieve enlightenment, but they delay to help others to achieve the enlightenment. And they believed in universal liberation, not just for one individual, for all the beings, for all the sentient beings. Okay, that is even for insects also, even for trees also, even for animals also. Anybody can achieve liberation, not but Hinayana, they believed it in individual liberation. So you concentrate on your own individual liberation. But Bodhisattvas and Mahayanas, they believed that one, we can bring liberation to everyone. Okay, so that is the major differences. And they started consuming non-vegetarian, which was banned in Sangha. And they left the Sangha also. So they believed that one, we don't need to be part of the Sangha. Okay, they left Sangha and they started accepting donation, which was banned according to the monastic rules. And Buddha was also against the monks associating with women. That is the reason there was separate Sangha for men and women, also separate rules and regulations for men and women. And now they started associating with women. And Buddha was against that one. Okay, so they started doing that one. That is what? They reinterpreted Buddha's teachings. And that is a major difference between Sthaviravadins, Mahasangikas. Sthaviravadins also called as Hinayana or Theravada, and Mahasangikas can be called as Mahayanis too. And Kanishka and Rishavardhana gave patronage to Mahayana. And Ashoka patronized Hinayana. Okay. And now today it is very famous in Japan, China and Central Asia. And also you must have seen certain questions were asked about different scholars. Today we will see it. And different scholars like Nagarjuna, Vasubandhu, Asanga, Aryadeva, okay, Dignaga. Okay, these questions were also asked. So that is directly related to Mahayanas. So look at how, when you read a topic, read it comprehensively. Read comprehensively what that topic is, how it evolved, what the future consequence of the topic. Okay, so every topic. So that is how the questions are getting repeated. If you have this kind of acumen, if you have, see, UPSC is also about learning, that is knowledge, definitely essential. And at the same time, UPSC is also about working on a skills aspect too. The skills of reading, the way to read, and everything matters a lot. Okay, that is Mahayana, Buddhism. Okay, and its philosophical schools are there, Madhyamika and Yogacara. So what is this philosophical schools of Madhyamika and Yogacara belong to Mahayana Buddhism? They can ask the question. So this part is not evolved, this part is not asked in UPSC. So they can ask about Madhyamika and Yogacara related to which of the following. That is Buddhism. So what is Madhyamika? And it is founded by Nagasena or Nagarjuna. Sometimes interchangeably use this particular name. Sometimes also believe that different also. So different vague kind of knowledge is there. That 150 CE, it was founded around. That is a AD time period. And it also called Shunyavada. It believes in emptiness. That is, everything is void. It's a philosophy. We don't want to get into too much about this particular philosophy. That believes that one, everything is empty or void. Then again, Yogacara school. It believes in yoga, cognitive abilities for attaining salvation. And it was founded by Maitreyanatha, and also it is also associated with Vasubandhu and Asanga also. So different Buddhist scholars, names. And also last time, if you look at that one particular question, Milinda Panha, directly related to Nagasena and Nagarjuna, and that was also asked. So look at that one. Oh, that is this acumen, this skill, that ultimately matters a lot. Okay, not just knowledge, not just indiscriminate reading. And yes, knowledge definitely plays a role. That is knowledge along with some set of skills. I think that is a recipe for success too. Okay, and it's around 400 AD, Yogacara, and it believes in cognitive practices, meditation and yoga for attaining salvation. Okay, so these two schools is directly related to Mahayanis. Okay, Mahayana, not Hinayana. They are related to Mahayana. Okay.